Everyone, it's Win. It's about almost 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central right now. Racing fleets are off. Let's do just a quick talk about what's going on. So this is the entire racing fleet that I have here. The red line is the Rome line, which is the direct course up to Mackinac Island. And what's going on, and I'll show you this in a second, is that there's sort of a southeast wind in the Chicago area, but everywhere on land that we look at, there's a southwest wind, and actually farther up in the lake also, you're going to see there's pretty strong southwest to southerly winds that I think bode well for when they finally sort of get connected out here on the lake. Eventually, I expect this wind to sort of merge with or overcome that southeasterly wind, and these boats are going to be more of a southerly wind and then maybe into a southwesterly wind over time is what the forecast has been and what I expect to have happen here. So just real quick, just look at a couple of things because I'm always curious about these. So we'll just click real quick on the turbo section. These are the big boys. And right now, so we've got Mostro, the Volvo 70 is going 13 knots, about 13 knots for WindQuest. Wizard right behind them also going 13 knots. So we've got some really, really great boat speeds. And what appears to be about 10 to 12 knots of wind out of Chicago. Again, off the lakeshore. So that's fantastic. Real quick, Arete is another one that people, I think, are following. They're doing 20 knots right now. They love this kind of a reaching situation. What will be interesting to see is later on when we've got to go into the wind later on tonight, and we'll talk more about that in a second, right? The wind's going to be coming out of the north. We're all going to want to go to the north. And in order to do that, we're going to need to tack. Right? We're going to talk about this. You have to beat into the wind, zigzag back and forth. Typically, multi-hulls like Arete are not as efficient and effective at going upwind as monohulls, boats with one hull are. So we might see Arete going more like this across the wind, and we might see, WindQuest or someone being able to what we call sail closer to the wind. So they'll sail a course that's more directly into the wind than Arete will. But let's take a look at that as it unfolds later tonight. Let me flip all racing back on. Again, everyone's following the Rome line pretty much right now, a little bit here, a little bit there. When we look at boat speeds, they're really nice. I mean, 7.3 knots for Morgan 41, 6.9 knots here for Truett, which is in section 10. Which is S2 9.1. Again, these are the sort of the smallish end of the fleet, and they're going really, really nice boat speeds right now. But there's a lot of racing ahead. I'm gonna jump up to the cruising fleet real quick, and we've been talking about Infinite Diversion and their choice whether to go north or not, and they definitely are on that going north thing that I talked about earlier today. So this is them. They're going 10, 11 knots right now. And earlier today, I posted in a video about, wow, if I were them, I'd want to be maybe up here somewhere for when the wind shifts to the north, and then I just sort of make a rake turn and go this way across the wind. And maybe there's a compromise. Maybe you'd be more down here somewhere or over here somewhere, but somewhere in that direction where I've gotten as far into the new wind, right? Because the new wind's coming from this direction. I've gotten as far into it as I can so that when it shifts, I don't have to go into it anymore. I'm going to go across it. That looks to me to be what's happening right now. Joe Haas and team, they're in nice southwest winds, and I'll show you just how nice southwest winds in a minute here. They're doing 10.8 knots, as I said. They've got 119 miles to go, and they're setting up, it looks to me, for the next shift, which will be winds out of the north. Okay, one thing I just want to comment on real quick while on the tracker is I know a lot of people watch the leaderboard. And I want people to be careful watching the leaderboard, right? What the leaderboard is basically doing is it's saying if these boats went up the course, continued up the course at the same speed they're going right now, or average speed that they have since the start, and was what I have up here actually, when are they going to finish and when are the results going to be? Okay, so if everything stayed the same average as it has since the start, and everyone made the same progress up the course at the same speed, what would the finish order be? And it's great entertainment, don't get me wrong, but with a major wind shift that we're talking about here, with very, very light winds coming in on Monday potentially, it's a little bit of fiction. I want you to be careful with it. If you want, you can look at it from recent too, which means not since the start how fast the boat has been going up the course, but recently how fast the boat has been going up the course. And you'll find the results are going to change. The estimated time to finish and so forth are all going to change. So I enjoy yourselves looking at it, please, but please take care also in sort of taking it literally. I've seen a lot of hearts broken in previous races. Two more things. Number one is I just wanted to show you overall the wind field here. As I mentioned when I was showing you the boats, we've got a little bit of a southeast wind here in Chicago. And then here on land, we're largely southwest winds. Check out some of the breezes up here in the lake, right? We got a southwest wind at 20 knots, gusting to 22 knots up there in the Mid-Lake Buoy. We got 15 knots here in Pentwater. We're seeing really, really, really nice wind speeds on places where we have open exposure to the west side of the lake. 15, Sheboygan's got 15 gusting to 21 at the airport there. So that's pretty good stuff. And we're going to see, I think, continued good boat speeds. Look at all these 20s up the north end of the lake. It's really great if you can get connected to that breeze, which I think Infinite Diversion has. Our front looks to me, this is redrawing a little bit here, but looks to me to be kind of in this neighborhood right here. You see where I draw a line between the wind barbs that are out of the southwest or west. Here's west, here's south, these wind barbs, right? And the ones that are clearly out of the north, right there. Okay, so that to me looks to be pretty much where the front is. It's progressing about as we expected. Another, probably overnight passage, as we said. And let's just take a look at what's going to happen when the front passes. You guys all know that the winds are going to come out of the north, but let me just go ahead and back this up for you here. So bear with me. This is a model called the High Resolution Rapid Refresh model that National Center for Environmental Prediction runs. And if I sort of run this sucker out here, we're going to see that's the front, right? This area of sort of disturbed weather is the front dropping down. This is at 2300 Zulu time, which is about 5 p.m. today, right? So a couple of hours, pretty much on schedule with what we're seeing right now. And you're going to see some thunderstorms start firing over the western side of the lake and then over Wisconsin. A little bit of disturbed weather, nothing too severe looking here as we go on. This is now 1 o'clock in the morning, so this is going to be 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Central, 9. Now we got pretty good storms over land and a decent line over the lake. Not too terrible, really. 10, 11, and this is midnight sort of Central Time. You can see the storms seem to be losing a lot of their oomph, maybe because there's not any more heating over land at that point. But the front, when these storms go through, after them is when the wind shifts in the north, and that's where we're going to see boats turning into that beating profile that I talked about. So that's the situation. Thank you again. I probably am going to post one more video today unless conditions require me to do otherwise, and that video will probably be up this evening sometime after dinner / before bedtime. Thanks a ton. Thanks, bye.